Alex returned home after a long and enjoyable day of fishing, eager to indulge in the peaceful atmosphere that had become so familiar to him in recent weeks. The serene dawn followed the leisurely summer mornings, and the cool fresh air brought a sense of comfort to his heart. However, as he opened the door and stepped into the yard, that joy was swiftly replaced by a disconcerting sense of tension. His yard, which he had meticulously maintained, was now taken over by a loud wedding party with lively music, blending with laughter and congratulatory cheers. From a distance, Alex could make out the festive atmosphere of the wedding, but his excitement quickly faded when he observed the situation more closely. Tables and chairs were haphazardly arranged, vibrant banners decorated every corner, and at the center of this chaotic scene was a woman he knew all too well. Lisa, the president of the Homeowners Association, HOA, of the neighborhood where he lived. To Alex, Lisa was not merely a manager of the street. She embodied the image of a pompous woman, wielding her authority with such arrogance that it suffocated those around her. Stepping out of his car, a torrent of conflicting emotions surged within Alex. He could not fathom Lisa's decision to unilaterally host her daughter's wedding in the communal yard, without consulting, or at least informing, the other residents. In his mind, this was not just an act of disrespect towards the shared space, but also reflected the excessive imposition Lisa had consistently demonstrated. Anger bubbled within him, and he felt a sense of impotence simmering, ready to erupt. When will people realize that we need to stand up for ourselves? Alex pondered. The feeling of frustration made it impossible for him to accept what was happening. He had heard numerous stories from neighbors about Lisa's tendency to impose her opinions on everyone, infringing on their private space and stifling personal freedom. Today, standing before this uninvited wedding, Alex recognized that this was the moment he could no longer remain passive. It was disheartening to see that his friends and neighbors were also reluctant to stand up to Lisa. They often opted for silence over confrontation, understanding that Lisa could unleash unforeseen repercussions. This left Alex feeling more isolated than ever. Why can't people just stand up and defend their rights? He questioned himself. Despite his fatigue and disappointment, Alex resolved that he could not allow Lisa to continue dominating the communal space. He began envisioning a plan of his own, not for revenge, but to restore ownership and respect for each individual in the neighborhood. He aimed to organize a large party with the company of friends, particularly his biker friends who were always up for exciting adventures. That night, as the moon shone brightly in the sky, Alex sat with a steaming cup of tea, planning his party. He contemplated how a joyful and close-knit atmosphere could foster positive change. I will make everyone understand that we have the right to decide for ourselves and should not allow anyone, including Lisa, to rob us of our communal joy, Alex assured himself. Aware that his plan might provoke an unwanted conflict, he understood that if he did nothing, Lisa would forever hold her unshakable foothold within the community. A flurry of ideas welled up in his mind, from inviting live bands to preparing everyone's favorite dishes. He even contemplated games to bring everyone together, aiming to create a truly relaxing atmosphere. Thinking about this plan ignited a spark in Alex, and he began to envision a wonderful Saturday filled with laughter and music. That moment would no longer be a wedding imposed by Lisa's arrogance, but a celebration for the very residents of the community, a place where everyone felt free to express themselves and join in merriment together. In the following days, Alex did not hesitate to rally his friends outside the neighborhood to join him in this endeavor. Each conversation fueled him with more motivation and belief. Together, they imagined a vibrant space where joy and freedom could radiate. Thus, Alex transformed from a solitary individual into a leader of a small movement within the community, inspiring people to view one another with more warmth and friendliness. It was a daunting beginning, but Alex believed that with solidarity and independence, nothing was impossible. The story had only just begun, and he felt a new breath of change approaching Lisa, the president of the Homeowners Association. HOA is a strong and decisive woman. She does not hesitate to make resolute decisions, sometimes even dismissing the opinions of others as a sign of weakness. Upon Alex's return, he faced not only the raucous noise of the wedding party, but also the presence of Lisa, a woman he once admired for her proactiveness, but now felt anger toward for her arrogance. The sweltering heat of the summer afternoon only added to Alex's discomfort. He had squandered nearly an entire day fishing, hoping to return home to relax with a cold beer. But now he was confronted with a chaotic scene, tables haphazardly arranged, guests celebrating excessively, while the sounds of music and laughter echoed throughout the neighborhood. Alex stood amidst this vibrant atmosphere, yet his heart was caught in a tempest of anger. "This is my home," he muttered, but no one heard him. Although merely a resident of this neighborhood, Alex felt invaded. And now, Lisa stood among everyone like a queen at her own party, seemingly indifferent to his presence. What unfolded before Alex was astonishing. These neighborhood parties were usually organized with the consensus of all. Yet, Lisa had unilaterally arranged her daughter's wedding without consulting anyone. Alex's heart was heavy with thoughts. How could she presume to do this? Do all these people here agree with such arrogance? Looking at Lisa, whom he once respected for her capable leadership, he now saw nothing but pride and a lack of respect for those around her. The feeling of anger surged within him like a smoldering flame. Alex felt powerless as the entire neighborhood appeared to remain silent in the face of this imposition. They exchanged glances, but no one dared voice their discontent. They were paralyzed by a fear, an invisible dread that loomed over them in the presence of Lisa. It seemed she had created an oppressive atmosphere, silencing any dissent. Am I the only one who feels this is wrong? Alex wondered a sense of loneliness creeping into his heart. He needed support, someone to stand beside him in opposition to this act. Alex recognized that not everyone could perceive the distorting of community values in the stifling environment Lisa was creating. As time passed, while Alex struggled to contain his emotions, he continually pondered ways to restore balance within the community and reclaim his place. The truth was that other neighbors also felt discontent, but didn't know what to do. Within them lingered a part that was tempted by a false sense of peace and a desire to coexist with Lisa's authority. Alex began seeking companions in this fight. He reached out to a few biker friends whom he believed shared his dissatisfaction with Lisa's authoritarianism. They had once gathered joyfully on sunny days, riding together, sharing laughs. But now they would meet not just for leisure but to plot their action. We need to create a real event in this neighborhood, a gathering not just to have fun, but to make our mark. Alex told his friends directly and assertively. We will help everyone realize that no one can control their space. No one can take it upon themselves to decide for others. In Alex's mind, this wasn't merely a party but a symbol of personal freedom and community solidarity. He sensed the rising excitement among his friends, especially the glint of determination returning to their eyes. They would no longer sit idly by and accept Lisa's control. Everything was meticulously planned, from the music to the food, from the organization of the event to the message they aimed to convey to the community. Alex and the biker group strategized to turn Lisa's daughter's wedding into a performance no one would forget. They would ignite a fire, creating not just a traditional party, but a powerful awakening for the community about their rights and living space. With each passing day leading up to the wedding, Alex felt the thrill welling up inside him. Clearly, a part of him did not want to face Lisa, but on the other hand, he felt he was gathering the strength to resist the pressure. This would be not just Alex's fight, but a battle for those who did not dare to speak up, for those who were weary of living under the control of individuals like Lisa. As everything was set in motion, Alex felt both excitement and trepidation. He could only hope that when the day arrived, no one would passively stand on the sidelines any longer. From the embrace of the biker group, the continuing support and encouragement would spark a fire of hope and freedom. They would not only be participants, but also the architects of the narrative in which they were living. They would make it clear that the personal space of each individual was not a domain for others to encroach upon. And this was the battle Alex was preparing for. A battle not just to reclaim his home, but to restore freedom and respect for everyone in this community. Life needs those who dare to raise their voices and stand against oppression, and Alex is one of them. Alex stood in the middle of his yard, his hands clenched tightly, a tumult of emotions surging within him. Sitting on an old wooden chair, he listened to the cheerful sounds from outside, laughter from guests, the lively music and the sweet well-wishes directed at the couple about to begin their life together. Everything unfolded like a perfect picture, until Alex realized that the scene was anything but perfect. Amidst the laughter, the twinkling lights, and the stunning bouquets of flowers, Alex felt like an outsider. Sitting next to a pile of fishing gear, he once again questioned, "Why must I surrender my space? Why must I wield my power to impose on others?" Lisa, the HOA president, seemed to have crossed the line between respect and consensus, leaving only self-satisfaction and arrogance in her behavior. It was a kind of control that Alex could not accept. Certainly, the wedding party would be a memorable moment in the couple's lives, but no one had asked for Alex's opinion, nor commented on why the wedding was taking place right in his private space. Alex didn't oppose the idea of a wedding. It was the easy appropriation of his space for another person's momentous occasion that he could not condone. It left him feeling powerless and angry. The fond memories had become distant in his mind. The feeling of stagnation in his life swelled as he failed to find a way to restore the tranquility and comfort his home had once provided. The long nights spent contemplating conversations he had tried to share with friends seemed only echoes. No one wanted to stand up against Lisa. They all feared that she would make it difficult for them, shattering the peace of this community. More than ever, Alex felt bewildered. He longed for support from his friends, those who shared his sentiments but lacked the courage to voice them. Deep down, Alex wanted to find a solution, yet an invisible fear held him back from acting. That feeling of helplessness gradually became a part of him, as if he could change nothing, only becoming a spectator in the drama of life. Alex had once had good friends, but this week he didn't feel their presence. They were all timid, seemingly convinced by Lisa that opposing her was futile. "We should go along," they said. "Let things unfold as they will. What's the point in causing trouble?" Such words only fueled Alex's anger. In his mind flashed compressed images of street arguments and raucous council meetings, yet no one dared to speak out as everything turned increasingly gray in Alex's imagination. He made a significant decision: he could no longer live this way. Waiting for change or support from others seemed like an illusion. He needed a small revolution within himself. His biker friends, with whom he had once shared thrilling rides during the days of life flowing by, would help him make this a reality. In the final moments of hesitation, Alex drew up a plan. He would host a separate party, a gathering not merely for celebration but to reclaim his space, a meetup where like-minded individuals could come together. This would not only be an act of defiance but an invitation for neighborhood residents to participate in a vibrant event, proving that they had the right to speak up. Alex started rallying his friends, seeking those who shared his fervor. He needed them not just to create a noisy spectacle but to convey a clear message. He wanted everyone to see that his yard was not a realm for mere harmony, but a lively space where each individual had the right to determine the course of their own life without competition or oppression from anyone. No matter how powerful Lisa might be, Alex was resolved not to rely on the respect that her leadership required any longer. In a world where people often remained silent in the face of control, it was now time for him to speak out. In a subtle manner, Alex reclaimed his right to live. With the support of his friends, he would restore not only his space, but also the courage of the community to stand up for what they truly deserved. In the days following the loud event at the house, Alex experienced a whirlwind of emotions. The frustration and anger at Lisa's arrogance were still fresh, but alongside that he felt a strong sense of urgency to take action. Unable to tolerate the oppressive situation he faced, Alex began to devise his plan. A plan that would merge joy, freedom, and a touch of gentle yet meaningful revenge. That night, as the bright moonlight illuminated the yard, a place that usually basked in golden sunlight, and the sounds of birds chirping, Alex and his biker friends gathered to discuss things seriously. These friends were not only comrades, but also shared a common ideal of freedom and a life unburdened by rigid rules. They were passionate about journeys, adventures, and most notably, they had all felt the suffocating atmosphere that Lisa had created in their small neighborhood. "We need to do something special." Alex began, his eyes sparkling with ideas. "I don't want to just be a spectator in a play written by someone else. We will organize a party, a grand party, where everyone can enjoy freedom and connection." His friends immediately rallied behind him. They began planning a party filled with music, laughter, and fun. Alex understood that the excitement was not just an external spectacle. It was also a means for everyone in the community to rise up, acknowledge their own power, and change how they coexist. They decided to hold the party right in Alex's yard, a space that Lisa had once occupied, with the goal of not only reclaiming his space but also fostering a spirit of unity throughout the neighborhood. Time passed swiftly, and Lisa's wedding day was approaching. Alex felt more nervous and excited than ever, not only because of the impending party, but also due to the anticipation of witnessing the change he hoped would occur in the community. Moreover, he planned to draw in other residents from the neighborhood so they could together create a fresh wave, shattering the silence that Lisa had imposed. When the day of the party arrived, the atmosphere truly became electric. The roar of motorcycles combined with the lively chatter of people filled the air with energy. Alex's friends had prepared everything from music to food to games. They were determined to create not just a successful party, but also to provide the community with a space where they could express themselves without fear of judgment from others. As the music began to play, Alex looked around and saw residents who had once hesitated now participating in the festival's atmosphere, dancing and laughing together. This was a clear testament to the truth that the power of the community could not be extinguished by a single individual. Everyone had the right to voice themselves, and now they were ready to assert that right. Before long, the music started to attract attention, and no one could deny that the bikers knew how to throw a party. The sounds of guitars, drums, and vibrant voices created a lively tapestry that Alex had dreamed of. Other residents no longer felt shy. They joined in, experiencing a powerful sense of unity. What pleased Alex the most was seeing the joyful eyes, the excitement, and the feeling of freedom that he observed in everyone. The party was not just a one-time event. It had become a symbol of standing up against social pressure, asserting that each individual mattered and had their own rights. As Lisa's wedding occurred simultaneously, everything seemed to be turned upside down. The music from the party seeped into the venue of the wedding, and unexpectedly the wedding guests, from the bride and groom to the attendees, could not resist the allure of the party outside. They began to gravitate towards Alex's yard where joy and freedom were overflowing. The beats of the party's music made the atmosphere at the wedding feel dull. The bride and groom realized that Lisa's control was making their joyous day feel monotonous, and they began to feel suffocated. The anxiety they had previously accepted as a given turned into a determination to seek true happiness. Hand in hand, they decided to abandon the formal ceremony and head towards Alex's party, where freedom and joy awaited. They chose to reclaim what they desired rather than endure impositions from the outside. This scene was nothing short of a perfect boycott against the pressures Lisa had created, serving as a powerful reminder that happiness is not limited by any framework or rules. It can be said that Alex's plan for revenge not only held its own significance but also opened a door for positive change within the very community he belonged to. Each laugh, each gaze, each melody conveyed the message. Connection and friendship are the most vital elements, not power or control from any individual. Thus, Alex's story did not merely stop at reclaiming ownership. It became a journey towards deeper connections within the community, where everyone could proudly assert themselves without having to live in the shadow of another. The wedding day has arrived, and surprisingly, the atmosphere in the neighborhood where Alex lives has become vibrant and lively. That day, the sky was as blue as if it had just been cleansed of the dark blotches of gloom, with warm sunlight shining down into every corner, as if nature itself was eagerly anticipating a significant event. However, that beautiful moment was transformed into a wordless battle by the wedding that Lisa organized. As the music from the large speakers of the ceremony began to play, Alex stood in a corner of his yard, feeling an overwhelming tension building up inside him. The loud music from the party next door pierced his mind like a sharp knife, causing all his anger and resentment toward Lisa to rise like tidal waves. "I can't let them turn today into a circus," Alex muttered to himself, determined not to let Lisa have her way any longer. The exhilaration from his days riding with the biker gang suddenly ignited the fighting spirit within him. He didn't just want to reclaim his living space. He wanted to assert that the residents here had the right to live and express themselves, not merely to submit to the strict rules imposed by Lisa. Alex began to call upon his biker friends. They were free-spirited men and women, unafraid to stand up against injustice. They poured into Alex's place not just with roaring bikes, but with the enthusiastic spirit of a fiery celebration. They brought flags, signs, and particularly delicious food, which served not merely as sustenance but as symbols of community responsibility and solidarity. As the biker friends arrived at the yard, the atmosphere grew tense yet exhilarating. The music from the wedding party struggled to be heard over the noise, but Alex and his friends had a grand plan. They would not only dispel Lisa's suffocating presence, but also restore a sense of joy and harmony to the entire neighborhood. A life unbridled, where everyone could come together to enjoy shared values. There was a special moment when the roar of the motorcycles echoed throughout the yard, seeming to draw the defiant heads of the wedding party across the way. Upward, Alex decided to blast rock music at full volume, the familiar tune that the biker gang all loved. In no time, the upbeat music blended with the sounds of the celebration on the other side. The bewildered faces of the bride and groom displayed confusion, while Lisa appeared utterly irrational, unable to believe that someone had dared to challenge her authority. The wedding, which was once a beautiful event, had now turned into a struggle of strong wills. The scene transformed. Alex's friends began to dance, forming a jubilant circle while the wedding guests had to awaken from their sweet illusions. Laughter and joyful dancing from the biker group gradually captured the attention of the wedding attendees. The groom and bride who had been enduring Lisa's pressure began to feel the dissent of those around them. They stood at the corner observing both sides, realizing that Lisa's dominance had overshadowed the true value of this significant day. They exchanged glances without words, both sensing that the genuine connection between people was truly what mattered most. Amid this chaos, Alex convinced his biker friends that they weren't just there to cause a disturbance, but to demonstrate the value of friendship and solidarity. Together, they created an open space, a place where no one had to live under control, where everyone could contribute to the collective joy. In the end, it was the groom who hesitantly spoke to Lisa. "We want to hold the wedding outdoors. Today is not just yours, it belongs to all of us. We have the right to decide how we celebrate. No one can seize our joy." This brave voice shone like a gleaming ray of light amidst the gloomy sky. Faced with difficulties and challenges, Alex and his biker friends accomplished a miracle. They restored not just control over a party, but over the values of the community. The cheerful music soared, the atmosphere became relaxed, and arms were linked together once again. The outdoor wedding was swiftly arranged, bringing everyone closer together than ever before. At that moment, the boundaries between Alex and Lisa officially blurred. They were no longer just residents of the neighborhood, but a community. That day was not just a joyous occasion for the bride and groom, but also a day when Alex, his friends, and all the other residents proudly felt part of a united community, where everyone could express themselves and savor every moment of life. The momentous day of Lisa and her groom had arrived. That morning, the shimmering sunlight filtered through the leaves, creating a picture of nature that was truly beautiful. However, the atmosphere in the area was subdued. The presence of the wedding seemed to bring a sense of pressure to the surrounding space. Alex could hardly imagine the chaos that a small storm from the bikers would bring to what was supposed to be a perfect wedding. As Alex and his friends prepared for their revenge plan, the gentle sounds of Lisa's wedding, like soft music, suddenly vanished amidst the rumble of motorcycles and the laughter of the biker group. A lavish party instantly turned into an unbelievable commotion. The groom and bride, who had grand plans for their wedding day, gradually sensed the tension in the air. Worried glances from friends and family began to focus on Lisa, the one who decided to organize the wedding unilaterally without consulting anyone. Lisa's control over the market, as the president of the HOA, had infused the wedding atmosphere with fear and pressure. Amidst the vibrant images of flowers and twinkling lights, Alex and his friends began to appear, and the festive spirit shifted to a state of exhilaration. They formed an army of fearless individuals, bravely standing against the pressure. The strong music boomed along with laughter and cheers like a wave, pulling everyone into a new atmosphere. From a quiet and orderly wedding, the ambiance transformed into a colorful and liberated celebration. In that moment, the groom and bride realized they had allowed Lisa to control their momentous day, turning their most meaningful experiences into obligations over which they had no choice. The joy and the touch of romance of a newly blossoming love suddenly became a blurry reality. They had lost the sense of intimacy and warmth typically associated with a wedding. Thus, amidst the bustling crowd, the groom decided to take action. He called for everyone to gather and speak the truth. "We are not just characters in someone else's script. This is our day, and we have the right to decide what to do with it." His voice resonated through the noisy sounds, generating a source of strength for those around him. The bride was equally resolute. She swept aside the classic flowers and replaced them with vibrant wildflowers that Alex had brought. Looking at these flourishing blooms, everyone immediately felt closer, a sense of freedom rushing back into their hearts. Today is not about pleasing anyone other than ourselves. The bride stood up, her eyes filled with determination. We need to return to our true nature. Love and joy do not require overly strict rules. Life returned with a breath of freedom. joyful sounds of rock music blended with the passionate voices of the groom and bride. They led everyone down to the dance floor, guiding all into a joyful dance, replacing the heavy rituals that had been stifling the spirit of the wedding. Meanwhile, Lisa, sitting alone with a look of disbelief, found that her seat was no longer secure. The tragedy lay not just in her failure to control the crowd. The real tragedy resided within herself. The authoritarianism and pressure she exerted not only robbed those around her of joy, but also made her loved ones suffer. Finally, as the atmosphere filled with laughter and delight, Alex sensed a miracle. It was the connection among the community, the friendship and emotional support that created the greatest gift anyone could receive. Realizing that life did not need to be perfect, but simply genuine, Lisa slowly began to understand that life also held its own meaning. She chuckled, albeit hesitantly, but then felt herself free. She began to participate in the celebration, immersing herself in the joy without worrying about asserting her power. Perhaps, she whispered to herself, sometimes stepping back allows beauty to emerge. At that moment, everyone became one, embracing the beautiful moment of love and unity, where no one had to bear the burden of excessive control. Life was set back on the right track, and Alex, alongside his friends, looked ahead with gratitude. His struggle was not just about reclaiming control of the space, but also about sending a powerful message about friendship, freedom, and love. On the wedding day, the atmosphere in the neighborhood had completely transformed. The lively music blared from the large speaker that Alex and his biker friends had brought, enveloping the previously serene space where the ceremony was supposed to take place. Motorcycles were parked in a long line, and Alex's friends, clad in black leather, wore smirks that were half joking and half serious, injecting a sense of festivity into what had been a solemn setting, promising an unforgettable day for everyone. Lisa, with a tense expression, stood in the middle of the stage, trying to maintain control. However, with the powerful presence of Alex and his biker crew, her grip began to slip. The wedding guests, initially stiff, soon found themselves humming along to the music and swaying to the cheerful beat. Smiles blossomed on many faces, blending with the excitement that was spreading throughout the crowd. The scenes before them truly resembled a vibrant feast of color and sound, a stark contrast to the serious and rigid atmosphere Lisa had desperately tried to create. As the bride and groom watched the spectacle around them, in surprise, a sense of comfort and freedom gradually crept into their minds. They had chosen to organize this wedding to celebrate a monumental day in their lives. But with each passing moment, they felt as though the day was not turning out as expected. Lisa's overbearing control, from the menu selection to every decorative detail, had left the atmosphere feeling stiff and dry. But now, as the gaze of the crowd lit up with surprise, the free-spirited expression of Alex and his biker friends opened up a different door, a world where people could seek joy and connection. When the music echoed, one of Alex's friends, a remarkably skilled dancer, burst onto the floor, showcasing vibrant and energetic moves. From among the audience, those who joined the lively dance formed a large circle. The bride and groom exchanged glances, a flicker of joy lighting up their eyes. They recognized that not everything they desired rested in a flawless ceremony dictated by one person's opinion. What they truly needed was a memorable day. A day where feelings came alive, where everyone could play and laugh together. When Lisa realized the vibrancy and excitement brought by Alex, she began to spiral into a sense of failure. Watching her guests enjoy themselves, the smiles on their faces created a stark contrast to the somber mood she had initially established. A wave of jealousy surged within Lisa, as she noticed that her control and strict regulations paled in comparison to the freedom Alex and his friends offered. The wedding had transformed from a mere event into a celebration, overflowing with music, lights, and positive energy. It seemed that no one wanted to return to the previous monotony. They began to laugh, dance, and connect with one another. Even strangers found it easy to strike up conversations and immerse themselves in the lively atmosphere. Life flowed back into a joyful rhythm, making everyone realize that nothing was more important than savoring each moment, embracing imperfections but genuine. Under the brilliant light of twinkling lamps, the groom and bride decided to step down from the stage. They wanted to join in the wave of excitement. No longer just guests at their momentous occasion, they now became the creators of the atmosphere. They began to dance as the music filled the space, truly something they had not dared to dream of. Before Lisa stood by, unsure of what to do, she had strived for a perfect wedding. But now that perfection felt out of reach, she sensed her solitude amidst the surrounding joy, forcing her to confront the truth that perfection does not always bring happiness. On the other hand, what made people smile and feel connected were precisely those candid and spontaneous moments. From there, she realized that she had risked imposing her expectations on the lives of others, and it was time for her to reconsider. In those moments, the once commanding woman found herself concealed within the crowd. Conflicting emotions welled up inside her: envy, but also a touch of admiration. Under the glow of the sparkling lights, she wondered if her heart, too, was shaken like everyone else's. As time passed, Lisa slowly approached Alex. She was no longer the authoritative figure but had become an ordinary person, accepting that perfection does not always bring joy and pride. She smiled at Alex. Her mindset completely transformed. "Perhaps I've been too strict," Lisa admitted. "Sometimes being true to oneself is the most important thing." Suddenly, a silence stretched between Alex and Lisa. The tension that once filled the air had been replaced by understanding, as the music continued to meld with the radiant smiles from the crowd. The story was shifting a new chapter, pure and full of hope, was unfolding not just for Alex but also for Lisa and everyone present that day. The end of the wedding was no longer a simple conclusion but a beginning for genuine relationships and connections, a place where everyone could find true freedom together. In the story, Karen Flowers, the emphasis lies not only on personal conflicts but also reflects a powerful message about the spirit of freedom and solidarity within the community. Through Alex's journey, readers can easily see that societal pressures and control from powerful individuals can limit the freedom of many. However, when Alex decides to stand up against that pressure, he opens a new path not only for himself, but also for those around him. The tense situations arising from the struggle between Alex and Lisa illustrate how an individual can become a symbol of the fight for oneself and for the rights of the community. Lisa, in her role as the president of the HOA, represents those who constantly seek to control everything, assuming the power to determine the fate of others without considering their feelings and desires. She organized the wedding ceremony as a way to assert her strength and initiative. But it was precisely at that moment that the voices of dissent began to resonate. With his resilient nature, Alex did not hesitate to rise up to reclaim his ownership, not only in his private space, but also in the spirit of connection among the residents. The plan to host a lively party was not merely an act of revenge, but also a powerful call for seeking freedom within the community. When the bikers appeared, the atmosphere in the neighborhood transformed dramatically. It was not just a noisy event, but a manifestation that within each person lies a yearning for a free life, a simple joy alongside those they cherish. The transformation in the lifestyles and mindset of the bride and groom is also noteworthy in the story. They, who were preparing for an important day, began to realize that Lisa's control had obscured the true meaning of love and connection between them. Through the challenges that Alex and his friends presented, they decided to organize the wedding ceremony themselves. emphasizing that happiness does not solely stem from adhering to rules, but also from fostering genuine connections with one another. When Lisa realized that her control had spoiled the wedding atmosphere, it was a moment when she truly touched upon a profound truth. Life does not need to be perfect to be loved and appreciated. She began to see that life is not a competition but a journey where each individual has the right to choose their own path. With humor and an accepting attitude, Lisa decided to step back, making room for the smiles and happiness of those around her. One of the greatest meanings in the story is the affirmation of the value of community solidarity. Alex is not merely an individual opposing a powerful figure. He is the voice representing those who yearn for freedom. His friends, the secondary characters in the story, also reflect these values. They are not just allies, but also people who live authentically, always ready to stand up when necessary. Through the events in the story, readers can also feel the wide range of emotions that life brings, from anger and confusion to happiness and acceptance. The story not only focuses on a personal battle, but also expands into a broader picture of daily life, where each individual can contribute to a common tapestry, creating strong connections. Life in the community is not just about living together, but also about respecting and accepting differences together. Karen Flowers touches on a very practical issue in modern society, where individuals often face pressure from unspoken standards and rules. Rather than merely living according to societal dictates, each person needs to courageously acknowledge themselves and seek to build genuine connections with those around them. Ultimately, the story's message points to the ability of individuals to find strength in solidarity and acceptance and in mutual love. When Alex not only protects his own rights but also creates opportunities for others to seek happiness, he not only reclaims his own space, but also ignites a positive wave within the community. This is a lesson in inclusion about living freely as one's true self and connecting with those around to create a meaningful and happy life together. The supporting characters in the story, Karen's Flowers, are not merely auxiliary elements to the main narrative. They carry profound symbolic significance, contributing to the overall essence of life portrayed in the tale. Each character possesses distinct traits that realistically reflect facets of society and humanity in the modern world. First are Alex's friends. They are not just a group of bikers who bring laughter and joy. They embody the spirit of friendship standing by him in tough times. These friends represent the essence of freedom, the courage to love and live authentically, unwilling to succumb to external pressures. They not only recognize the anguish Alex endures while facing Lisa, but also exhibit a deep empathy, ready to stand by him in resisting her tyranny. It is their connection and support that generate a positive energy, encouraging Alex to seek justice and freedom for himself. Moreover, the bride and groom contribute a powerful message about self-determination. They, the main figures on the momentous day, have endured control and pressure from Lisa. Initially, they may feel awkward and hesitant. However, as the conflict between Alex and Lisa escalates, they come to understand that no one has the right to dictate their happiness. They decide to rise against the oppression imposed by their own mother taking ownership of their wedding. Their determination and fighting spirit not only provide a hopeful perspective on love, but also emphasize that each individual's life should not be confined by the arrogance of societal norms. They symbolize the yearning for freedom in love and life. In addition, other secondary characters such as the nearby residents contribute to the vibrant portrayal of the community. They represent the small voices often overlooked, yet these voices resonate powerfully within the community. When Alex organizes a party to counter Lisa's boisterous wedding, the neighbors find their voice daring to stand up and advocate for what they truly desire. A space of freedom where they can celebrate their weddings, festivals, or any activities without being subject to someone's control. Thus, the narrative concerning the supporting characters is not merely about illustrating those surrounding the main storyline. It also reflects a lifestyle and a spirit of fighting for individual freedom within a society, rife with constraints and pressures. The interactions among these characters enable the audience to recognize the values of friendship, love, and solidarity, crafting a positive message about life. Simultaneously, these characters breathe life into the story, making it more relatable, especially as they express a wide range of emotions from anxiety and insecurity to resolve and excitement. These nuances not only enrich the narrative content, but also evoke in the audience memories or experiences of their own. Each person can find a part of themselves within the story, thus feeling the power of friendship and community support. In summary, the supporting characters in Karen's Flowers do not merely serve as contextual elements in the struggle between Alex and Lisa. They embody the noble values of friendship, self-determination, and unity. With each character, the story expands beyond a confined space, encompassing the entire community, painting a vivid picture of humanity's strength when fighting for beliefs and desires. Through these characters, Karen's Flowers conveys a powerful message about the inherent worth of each individual, deserving to live in a free environment where they can express themselves without facing imposition from others. The solidarity and support of the community will be the decisive factor, helping each individual overcome difficulties, stand firm in their beliefs, and ultimately find true happiness. The story of Karen's Flower guides us through a spectrum of emotions from anger and confusion to happiness and acceptance. Each situation presents the protagonist Alex with challenges that are not only physical but also mental. Upon returning home after a long fishing trip, Alex is filled with anticipation for some peace in his familiar space. However, he is unexpectedly confronted with his front yard taken over by a noisy wedding party. The commotion is not just the sound of cheerful voices, but also the laughter and reckless antics of the attendees, completely alien to the serene atmosphere that Alex had eagerly returned to meeting Lisa, the president of the Homeowners Association, HOA. A woman who has taken it upon herself to organize this event without notifying or seeking the approval of anyone is the source of Alex's mounting irritation. Lisa's arrogance, her desire to control everything in the neighborhood, has now gone too far. Alex is not only angry about her blatant disregard for his privacy, but he also feels powerless to push back against a figure of authority within the community. This feeling of loneliness and futility grows stronger, prompting him to reflect on his situation and seek support from friends. In seeking sympathy from those around him, Alex faces a different picture. Many lack the courage to stand against Lisa, and their reluctance is further compounded by the fact that they have often witnessed her decisions benefiting parts of the community. This leads Alex to not only doubt his friend's support, but also question the political dynamics and the consensus among the neighborhood. How can he reclaim his space when it seems the entire community lives in fear of offending a powerful woman? It is rare for life's difficulties to lead to positive thinking. While confiding in friends, Alex comes up with the idea for a grand and lively party, with his biker gang creating a psychological battle against Lisa. The plan is not just to throw a party, but also to reclaim his ownership of the space, asserting his own will within the tangled web of social relationships. As the wedding day arrives, the quiet atmosphere quickly turns chaotic. The appearance of the bikers with their loud music and raucous laughter transforms what should have been a romantic ceremony for Lisa into a vibrant celebration. It is no longer a simple wedding with solemn rituals, but rather a lavish festivity, a space connecting diverse individuals, showcasing the talent and strength of friendship. Interestingly, the young couple facing Lisa's dominance suddenly realizes the power of freedom and the importance of making their own decisions. They understand that without mutual respect and freedom, their wedding day, one of the most significant moments of their lives, would lose its true value. They take it upon themselves to organize an outdoor ceremony, creating an intimate and loving atmosphere. The outcome of this conflict goes beyond Alex simply reclaiming his space. It also opens up an opportunity for Lisa to comprehend that perfection is not a necessity in life. Even a strong and decisive woman like Lisa must accept failure seeking sincerity in human relationships. She becomes humorous, and for the first time in her life realizes that the connection among residents is the greatest value she had inadvertently lost. The story concludes not merely as a battle between Alex and Lisa, but also offers a significant lesson about solidarity and the importance of standing up for oneself and the community. Throughout this journey, Alex not only regains control, but also rekindles connection, friendship, and unity among the residents. The transition from negative emotions, such as anger and confusion, to happiness and acceptance reflects not only Alex's growth, but also mirrors the journeys of many in safeguarding their core values. It serves as a reminder that in this life, it is not always about the stringent rules imposed by society. What matters most is the sincerity and love that people extend to one another. This paints a vibrant, complex, yet meaningful picture of life in modern communities where individuals are not mere isolated entities, but interlinked components in a reciprocal relationship. In the context of the story, Karen's Flower, the setting extends beyond Alex's backyard, reaching out across the community where he resides. This is a diverse and rich tapestry where each individual contributes to the overall picture of daily life, social interaction, and underlying conflicts. When Alex returns from a fishing trip, he does not come back merely seeking relaxation after a tense day. He is confronted with the harsh reality that his backyard has been invaded by a raucous wedding of which he was unaware. The image of the peaceful garden suddenly becomes jarring, as the music and laughter from the party shatter the tranquility he cherishes. Through this, the author profoundly conveys that the sense of encroachment is not just about the material aspect, but also the spiritual space where everyone has the right to seek their own joy. Lisa, the antagonist, is not simply a character. She represents the archetype of a strong-willed woman who likes to control and shape everything according to her preferences, often making others feel suffocated. Her arrogance, exemplified by organizing the wedding without consulting anyone, reflects a thought-provoking issue regarding power dynamics and the role of leaders in communities. Lisa not only fails to see that her control is creating a barrier between people, but she also acts as an impediment to genuine interactions within the neighborhood. In stark contrast to Lisa's imposition, Alex embodies the archetype of a man who values freedom, perpetually yearning for a life unshackled by society's rigid rules. Their conflict transcends personal difference. It symbolizes a struggle faced by many individuals in society. It is about finding one's voice, protecting one's living space, and asserting one's worth in a context where harsh restrictions are often prevalent. When Alex decides to throw a party with his friends, it is not merely an act of revenge, but rather a confident declaration of reclaiming control over his space. That party becomes more than just music. It signifies the sound of freedom. With the bikers' presence, the atmosphere in the neighborhood transforms into a vibrant and lively scene, creating a stark contrast to the suffocating and heavy ambiance of the wedding party that Lisa organizes. As the community witnesses this change, they begin to realize that control is not the key to happiness. Alongside the festive air, they are also confronted with the pressures Lisa exerts. Yet the arrival of Alex and his friends ignites a sense of solidarity and mutual support among them. Gradually, the community evolves into a unified entity, no longer hesitant or reserved, but instead a force to challenge injustice. Ultimately, when the bride and groom recognize that the wedding they envisioned is being hijacked and does not provide real meaning for their special day, they choose to organize an outdoor ceremony on their own. This gesture not only fosters a sense of intimacy and closeness, but also symbolizes each individual's right to self-determination in shaping their lives. This is especially significant in a social context where individuals like Lisa often intervene and impose what they deem right or perfect. The communal life is gradually liberated from control, and the joyous atmosphere of Alex's party heralds a new chapter in the relationships among the residents. They come to understand that perfection is unnecessary. What is essential is sincerity and connection through respect and love. Lisa, upon recognizing her defeat in this struggle, transforms from a dominator into a part of the community that is learning and growing together. With a touch of humor and lightness, she accepts her retreat, leaving space for creativity and joy. Concluding the story, it becomes evident that the spirit of solidarity is the necessary strength to overcome all barriers. Karen's flower depicts not just a conflict between Alex and Lisa, but also reflects the relentless efforts of each individual to reclaim the meaning of their lives. This narrative teaches us that by standing up and voicing our thoughts, we not only grant ourselves freedom, but also contribute to building a robust community where every individual can live authentically and connect with others in a spirit of unity and love. In the end, Alex not only regained control of his living space, but also discovered a new path for the community where the connection and cooperation among the residents became a core value. Looking back on the struggle he endured, he realized that conflicts were not just personal matters, but also reflected a larger picture of the fight for the rights and values of each individual within society. On a golden afternoon, after everything had stabilized, Alex hosted a small gathering at his home. The atmosphere was joyful and cozy. Residents from all corners of the neighborhood came bringing food, drinks, and friendly smiles. It was an unofficial event, but carried the power of friendship and sharing. The residents cheerfully reminisced about old memories, the hardships they had faced, and their aspirations for the future. Alex felt the happiness spreading like a blooming Karen flower in the spring. Notably, the bride and groom attended this event, bringing a fresh vibe with their stories about beliefs and precious memories of their own. They thanked Alex for making their wedding day more meaningful, and more importantly, for helping them break free from Lisa's control. They enthusiastically shared their plans for their new family life, which added to the lively atmosphere. After failing in her power struggle, Lisa had to reflect on herself. Her arrogant actions served as a lesson. Life is not merely about dominance or possession, but also about understanding and mutual respect. Rather than organizing grand weddings without considering others' feelings, she decided to change her direction. Gradually, she transformed from a difficult woman into a model of acceptance and integration. She actively participated in the community's rich gatherings and managed her jealousy, replacing it with symbiotic actions that contributed to everyone's collective growth. This change not only made Lisa more likable in the eyes of the residents, but also brought a new wave in building solidarity. They began organizing community activities from picnics and outdoor movie nights to charity fundraisers, not just for entertainment, but also to unite and support those in need in the area. People shared together, learned from one another, and the walls of separation slowly crumbled. Alex's home became the center of these activities, a symbol of connection among everyone. Notably, through this process, Alex realized that he was fighting not only for a living space but also to restore relationships. He was not just an individual but a part of a larger community where each person had their own value and role. The victory was not simply about reclaiming his garden, but about rebuilding the relationships that had been damaged. The profound lesson from this story goes beyond personal conflicts. It expands into a greater message about the value of solidarity and compassion. Alex and the other residents learned that in daily life, sharing with each other and facing challenges together would make them stronger. The boundaries between individual and community gradually blurred. People recognized that when one person faced difficulty, the whole community would come together to lift them up. Ultimately, Alex not only reclaimed his ownership, but also created a favorable environment for sustainable development. People began to see each other not just as neighbors, but as friends, joining hands to build a more livable, warmer living space. And despite the ups and downs of life, they always remembered that love and understanding are the essence of a happy community. The story of Karen Flowers is not merely a tale of a battle for control, but a journey towards seeking harmony amidst life's complex conflicts. The core values conveyed by this story, such as mutual respect, perseverance, and a spirit of solidarity, will forever remain valuable principles for anyone navigating life in the modern world.